Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I thought I would do a really fun video today. I turned 24 actually about like 6 months ago, so this video is a little bit late, but I thought, better late than never. And I kind of wanted to document the things that I've learned up to this point, so I can look back on it years from now and be like, oh, like I learned that lesson when I was 24 or sometime around that age, I just thought it would be fun. So let's get started. Number one, self-reflection is not a waste of time. Take the time to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing. Are you doing things because you want to do them, or are you doing it because other people are doing them? Like oftentimes we get so swept up in life that sometimes we do things just because everyone else around us is doing it, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because maybe you're subconsciously not that happy about your situation, but you're just doing it because that's just the routine of life. So having some self-reflection time is really good in identifying these things that are actually not that great for you personally. Number two, life is not a race. After I graduated from university, I really felt like life was going into fast forward mode, because without the structure of class and like that kind of like end goal of graduating, I felt that life was just going by really, really fast, and I felt really anxious, especially the first year out of university. I really felt like I had to speed up my process and like getting a good career, making more money, being further in life, whatever that means. But honestly, this again ties into the whole self-reflection point, is that really take the time to understand what you're doing, where you want to go, and self-reflecting on that for me really helped me understand that life is not a race. Like, you have so much time. Life doesn't have to go like at lightning speed. It's fine to go things at your own pace. Number three, toxic relationships can be in the form of both romantic relationships and friendships. Actually, your family members can also be toxic relationships in your life. So don't be mistaken. If there's somebody in your life, whether it's a romantic partner, a friend, or even a family member, you don't need toxic relationships in your life. Like, try your best to identify them and to recognize that you have this relationship with them, and try your best to remove yourself from that situation. Because really, there are so many better things for you to focus on, and you don't need people who bring you down every day. You don't need people who make you feel bad. Like, you should be living your best life, and these toxic relationships have no place in your life. Number four, keep learning. Just because you're not in school anymore, it doesn't mean that you can't keep learning. This could be like a new hobby that you've always wanted to learn, or a new skill you've always wanted to learn. There's just so many things that you can continually keep learning, and it doesn't have to be academic. It could be like a new skill, like I had mentioned. For example, I didn't go to school for video editing or website development, but I ended up learning those skills because I had an interest in it, and it was those skills that actually ended up getting me my current job. So never stop learning. You never know when your skills will come in handy. Number five, it's actually not that scary to talk to strangers. What I've learned from traveling abroad and just getting a little bit older and having a little bit more experience in life is that most people are generally quite friendly. If you approach someone, obviously in a non-creepy way, when you approach someone, usually they are quite receptive of what you have to say, especially if you're traveling or if you just want to chat with someone in line. And this was a big lesson for me, because I used to be really, really shy. I never wanted to talk to strangers because I thought that I would be a burden to them, or that I was interrupting them in any way, inconveniencing them, but that's actually not true. Most people are pretty nice and approachable. Number six, nobody is actually thinking about you that hard, and that kind of ties into my previous point of people are usually nice to you, because I used to be so worried about what other people thought about me, especially when I'm in a situation where I don't know anyone, or if people are in a group that already know each other and I'm the one who's kind of the not outcast, but like the stranger in the group. And I always thought like, oh, people aren't gonna like me because of this and this and this. But in reality, nobody's actually thinking about you that hard, and if they are, it's probably because you're doing something, like actively doing something to give attention to yourself, whether it's positive or negative. But generally speaking, nobody is purposely thinking about you specifically that hard, so don't be so hard on yourself. Number seven, don't be ashamed of who you are. Like, be confident, but don't be cocky, obviously. But it's okay to like the things that you like and be confident and enjoy them. Just because other people may not be interested in the things you're interested in, it doesn't mean that you can't be proud of the things that you're interested in. Like, be yourself, be confident. Number 8, Be kind to others without expecting anything in return. I don't think I have to say too much about this, but really in terms of your own personal mental health, like you don't really need to do something nice for someone in order to get something nice in return. Like it's just so much more refreshing and liberating just to be kind to other people and not expect them to repay you sometime later on. Life is just a lot easier and it's a lot nicer and more pleasant when you just do things out of the goodness of your heart and not because you think that they owe you. Number 9, your parents are humans too. When this realization came to me when I was in my early 20s, it was quite a shock. I know everyone's relationship with their parents is probably different, but for me, I always thought that my parents knew everything and my parents were always right growing up. That was my mindset. Like my parents were always so confident. But after this particular argument, I won't explain what it was with my parents, I finally realized that sometimes my parents are wrong. And actually, sometimes they're wrong a lot of the times, and that's okay. Like, obviously, they're human. I make a lot of mistakes too, but it was crazy for me to start thinking about my parents like, oh, like sometimes they're not right. Sometimes their opinion is wrong, and sometimes they make mistakes even if they're trying their best, and that's okay. But that was just something that made me realize, wow, my parents are human too, and that made me understand them a lot more. Number 10, putting a little bit of effort into something is better than not putting effort into it at all. So for me, when I started going to the gym about a year ago, 2 years ago now? No, 2 years ago. So for me, when I started going to the gym 2 years ago, I got really into it. Like I love going to the gym. I mean, I still do. But it had gotten to the point where I felt like if I didn't go to the gym for 1 hour sessions, then I might as well not go because it would do nothing. But that's not true. Going to the gym for 15 minutes out of your day is a lot better than not going to the gym at all. Like, at least for me, it really helped me keep up the momentum of going to the gym, even if I could only go for 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. It just kept the routine going. And even for my actual like physical health, 15 minutes of exercise is still a lot better than not going and not exercising at all. And this, I feel like, can be applied to any aspects of your life, whether it's like doing a little bit of homework versus not doing it at all because you feel like you can't just have little spurts of it because you feel like doing 5 minutes of homework is a waste of time, whereas you would rather just sit down for an hour to do your homework. That's not the case. Every little bit of effort you put into something is worth something. Number 11, don't let other people tell you what you can and can't achieve. Throughout your entire life, there are always going to be people who doubt you. You are the only one who knows you the best. And if you think that you can achieve something, then try your best to do it. And don't let other people, anyone, your friends, your boyfriend, girlfriend, parents, brothers and sisters, don't let them tell you that they don't think that you can do it, so that makes you end up not doing it. Always try to do the things that you want to do, not what other people want to do. And don't let other people convince you otherwise. Number 12, you can't change people who don't want to be changed. And this again applies to everyone in your life. Like if you have a significant other who does something that you don't particularly agree with, obviously communicate with them and do your best to tell them why you feel the way that you feel. But at the end of the day, the decision to change their habits or their perspective on life, on that particular thing that you don't enjoy, at the end of the day, it's their decision. And sometimes you just have to let things go and just accept someone for who they are. And if you can't accept that, maybe you have to reevaluate that relationship. And it's perfectly normal to be able to have a healthy relationship with someone you don't agree with. But it's also perfectly normal to want to step away from that relationship. Number 13, let others make their own mistake. This again comes back to the whole idea of just accepting people for who they are and accepting the fact that they might do things differently than you. So if you've gone through a similar situation that your friend is going through, for example, and you're telling them, giving your advice to them, telling them, hey, like, I was in the same situation and I solved it this way and this way and this way, but they're not listening. Sometimes it's just good to just let them make the mistakes themselves so they can learn it. Some people are just stubborn and that's fine. And I find that the lessons that people learn is a lot more impactful when they actually go through the experience themselves. So let others make their own mistakes. After all, you went through the same thing and you turned out fine. So just let people live their lives and see where it takes them. Number 14, making friends is a lot harder when you're no longer a student. Like, If you're lucky, you will make friends at work, but it doesn't always work out that way. People at work come from all different walks of life, and it's not guaranteed that you'll get along with everyone. And it's also not guaranteed that you'll be friends with anyone. And that's just a harsh reality of things, but I find that the more you understand that concept, the easier it is for you to accept your situation. So when you do have really good friends, it's really good to cherish those relationships and those friendships for what they are, because true friendship really is a rare thing. Number 15, love your pets. Your pets obviously don't live as long as you, and while you can go out into the world to your job or school or going out to have fun and hang out with your friends, your pets are at home all day. And usually they wait for you to come back. And for you, you have the whole world to explore and to have fun. But for your pet, you are their whole world. So cherish them and make sure that they are having a good life while they're still with you, because they don't live as long as you. Number 16, everything will pass, whether it's good or bad. Everything will pass. Nothing lasts forever. So when you're having a really good time in your life, things are just going really well, like make sure to absorb as much of that goodness as you can, because good times don't last forever. And it's the same with bad. If you're going through a rough situation right now, or something really bad happened, just know that bad things won't last forever. Wounds will heal and you'll move past it. Number 17, don't burn bridges unnecessarily. You never know when that relationship with that person will come in handy. I find that especially in the professional field, networking and having good relations and having connections is actually really important, and they come in handy. Like my current job right now, I wouldn't have gotten it if I hadn't known the person that I know. So try to keep up with as many good relationships as you can. Number 18, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it. Like, pettiness gets you nowhere. Maybe it gives you some self-satisfaction, but if you're that petty, it probably means that you're unhappy with your own situation, and maybe the root problem is what you should be focusing on and not trying to make others feel bad because of your own unhappiness. Number 19, be a conscious buyer. Nowadays, because consumerism is just so big and so prominent in our society, especially in North America, or actually everywhere around the world nowadays, please be conscious about the things that you buy, because we only have one planet and it's good to be kind to it. You wouldn't leave trash around your own house. Like in my apartment, I would never just open a package and just throw the package and like all over the floor or whatever. So if you wouldn't do that in your own home, don't do it outside in the environment, because the planet is our home. It's our big giant house that we all live in. So keep it clean. And in order to do that, it also means that you have to be conscious about the things that you buy and how you dispose of your waste. Number 20, don't be jealous of other people's success. Other people's success is not your downfall. Learn from other people and be happy for other people's accomplishments, because that way, that good vibe, that good energy will be reflected in your own personal life and in your own decisions. Be inspired by other people's accomplishments so you can be a better version of yourself by supporting others. Number 21, only take advice from people who are successful in the things that they're talking about. So if you have a good idea, or if you're suddenly inspired to do something, don't take advice from people who have never achieved what you're trying to achieve. For example, if you wanted to open a cafe, don't take advice from people who have never opened a cafe. Obviously, you want the best advice, and that best advice is going to come from someone who has had experience in running a successful cafe. Why would you take advice from someone who realistically probably doesn't know what they're talking about and they're just making assumptions or guesses? It doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying to ruin you, but they might have the best intentions. But for you personally, it's probably a lot better and a lot more beneficial if you get advice and knowledge and information from someone who's already done what you've been trying to do and has been successful in it. Number 22, not everyone thinks like you, and that's okay. I find that I'm a lot more at peace when I'm open to other people's perspective, and I have a lot less anxiety and anger at the world when I accept the fact that not everyone thinks like me. And it's actually a very beautiful thing when you have different people with different ideas and perspectives and ways of doing things. Like, it's so much more interesting. Life is so much more interesting when we can collaborate in a friendly way and be diverse. Number 23, it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to go through life alone. You don't have to do things on your own. You don't have to figure things out on your own. If there are people in your life who care about you and want to help you and are willing to help you, let them. For example, for Christmas this year, I'm going to be going home, but I needed to find somebody who would be willing to take in my cats. And initially, I was just going to pay someone to take care of my cats for the 10 days that I would be gone. But then I realized, whoa, what if I just reach out to the friends that I know who actually like cats and ask them if they'd be willing to do so? And I did, and I found a friend who was willing to take care of my cats while I was away. And I'm really, really appreciative of that friend because he's saving me like $350. Like, it's okay to ask people for help if you need it. And if they're really your friend, they're not gonna think that you're a burden, and they're not gonna be angry at you for asking, because the worst thing that could happen is that they just say no. And if that's the case, you just find a different solution. Your friends are not gonna unfriend you just because you ask for their help. That's what friends are for. Number 24, communities, surprisingly, are run by people. And they're run by people who actually live in the community. So if there's something that's going on in your city or your town or whatever that you don't agree with, chances are your local government will probably have a system in place where you can actually participate in the discussion of what happens and what goes on in your city. So get involved. If there's something that you don't enjoy in your town, talk to your mayor about it. Talk to your whoever is in charge, because you live in this community too, and you have the right to say what you like and dislike or what you'd like to see in your community, in your neighborhood. Because remember, change cannot happen if you don't speak up. Okay guys, that's all I have for you for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to come back and subscribe so you can see more of Mika. You have any life advice for everyone? No? Probably not. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye everyone!